Hey guys, it's Chris. From an all-out brawl at a burger joint to the guy in Aspen who hired an owl as his attorney, here are 10 of the weirdest stories of when Colorado goes wrong. Number 10. Bank robbed by balloons. In the town of Aurora, police dispatchers received an emergency call saying that gunshots had been fired at the Wells Fargo Bank and that there could be a robbery in progress. Over a dozen officers responded within just minutes and set up a police perimeter. They were ready to take down the bank robbers the second they came out of the bank. According to the eyewitnesses, there were gunshots heard coming from the bank, and then a white Chevy Suburban SUV took off at a very high speed. There was also somebody spotted running out of the building. It looked like a bank robbery was going on. The police actually went into the bank and checked the customers for weapons, and then handcuffed them. It was during the handcuffing that police found out that there hadn't been any gunshots at all. There was actually a holiday party going on in the bank and some of the helium balloons had popped, creating a noise like gunfire. The whole thing had been a dramatic false alarm. Nobody was robbing the bank, and it was a big waste of time on the part of the police and really everyone else. Then again, it's not really such a far-fetched thing for a bank to get robbed in Colorado. According to FBI reports, in 2010 alone, there were 163 bank robberies in Colorado and only 97 of them were solved. I mean, I would have been as certain as the police that there was something nefarious afoot if I were there, wouldn't you? Number 9. Kayaking gone wrong. Colorado is a great place to go kayaking, but you better make sure you have a strong heart. A man from Colorado recently died on a kayaking trip through the Green River in Dinosaur National Monument of what some authorities suspect may have been a heart attack. Staff at the park were notified that an inflatable kayak with a 60-year-old man in it had flipped over. Witnesses managed to get the man out of the water and tried to resuscitate him using CPR, but he was unconscious and unresponsive. He had to be airlifted out by a medical helicopter and taken to the Memorial Hospital in Craig. Sadly, he didn't make it. Most likely he had some type of congenital heart defect, but it wasn't until he was extremely stressed and agitated while kayaking that his heart gave out on him. At the hospital, he was declared dead, and to everyone's sadness. While it might have been fun and games to take a kayak down a Colorado river, it can also apparently lead to a critical, life-threatening heart attack. Next time you're thinking about going kayaking or engaging in other extreme sports, you might want to make sure you're in perfect health before you go out into the wilderness. Number 8. Brawling at an In-N-Out. Only in Colorado do wild brawls erupt outside of burger joints. In 2020, a fistfight was captured on video happening outside of an In-N-Out burger. This was in Aurora, while customers were waiting in line at one of the 2 new locations of the fast food chain that just appeared in the city. Understandably, people were getting very hungry and very impatient as they waited to get their hands on a delicious, savory cheeseburger. Apparently, some people had to wait hours just to get a burger and fries. Honestly, I would have gone to just a different restaurant, wouldn't you? I mean, your time is valuable. Couldn't you just come back a week later and try the burger without a line? What do you think of all this nonsense about waiting for a simple fast food burger? Anyway, during all that waiting, the hunger got worse, and temper started to flare. 3 of them ended up in a brawl while trying to get their burgers, with one of them somehow pantsless in the middle of a 3-way melee. The guys did calm down and stop fighting after some people intervened. But we don't know if they ever did get those burgers, or if they got out of line and went home embarrassed. Number 7. The Deadly Sulphur Cave. There's a mysterious cave located near one of Colorado's most iconic ski towns, Steamboat Springs. It's known only as Sulphur Cave, and it's unlike any other found throughout the entire state. According to David Steinman from the zoology department at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, there's a creepy brood of terrifying worms found to only live inside of this cave and nowhere else in the entire world. David actually studies the cave using special breathing equipment because it's so full of toxic gases that going into it unprotected can result in death. And yet somehow these worms make this poisonous atmosphere their home. I guess life always finds a way, I tell you what. As for these creepy worms, there are tens of thousands of them living inside of the cave. They're the color of blood. They eat sulfur-oxidizing bacteria, and they could be hundreds of millions of years old. While Colorado is known for its great mountains and awesome rivers, now you can think of it as home to the creepiest collection of bloodworms in the world, living inside of a deadly poison cave. What's the creepiest thing you've ever seen in a cave? Tell me about it down in the comments. And remember to subscribe to World List if you haven't already for more intense and awesome videos just like this one. Number 6. Brain dead from TikTok. In Denver, the popular viral video app TikTok has turned deadly. It happened in 2021 when a young boy from suburban Denver was put in critical condition after attempting a TikTok challenge, daring young people to choke themselves until they black out and lose consciousness. It's known as the Blackout Challenge, and it's wildly dangerous and perhaps the stupidest challenge since that challenge to eat Tide Pods. The kid's brother found him passed out in the bathroom of their home after bragging about how long he could hold his breath. The family quickly got him to the hospital, but according to local news, doctors later revealed that the boy was brain dead and could be that way for the rest of his life. He's currently in life support and in dire shape. And as for the Blackout Challenge, well, it's actually been going on with young children and teenagers since the 90s. TikTok is just making it popular once again. If you think you should try every dangerous fad on social media, well, think again. It's just not worth the risk to try and gain some clout online, trust me. Number 5. Attacks by bears. In Colorado, you can be attacked by bears at just about any minute. As recently as May of 2021, workers with Colorado Parks and Wildlife discovered human remains inside the stomachs of a local black bear and her 2 cubs. Authorities now suspect that the bears are responsible for killing and then consuming a woman who had gone missing from near the Durango area. The bears were tracked down using sniffing dogs after parts of the missing woman's body were found just off Highway 550. All 3 bears needed to be euthanized because, according to Colorado Parks and Wildlife Director Dan Prenslow, the public must be kept safe. The issue is that after a bear gets a taste for human flesh, there's nothing stopping it from going on the hunt and taking down as many hikers as possible in the remote Colorado wilderness. As for why the bear attacked the woman in the first place, she was probably in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then the bears ate her when they realized just how tasty she was. Number 4. An owl attorney. In Aspen, a man named Charles Abbott brought to court a very strange attorney. It was a stuffed owl. You might call this the most bird-brained idea of the century. Charles thought that appointing a stuffed owl as his lawyer would somehow win his court case. In all seriousness, though, bringing a stuffed animal to court and calling it your attorney seems like a great way to plead insanity, don't you agree? But what was the case about? Charles was accused of violating a protection order after assaulting his former roommate at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. The order was apparently violated after Charles went to the victim's home to take some of his own belongings back while the victim was out of town. The entire case was pretty bizarre, and the icing on the cake was definitely that stuffed owl that Charles placed at the defense table and claimed to be his legal counsel. Charles also told the judge that the owl had a law degree from Yale, Harvard, and even Stanford. But even though the owl had so many degrees, it didn't say much during the proceedings. Weird that. In the end, nothing in the courtroom really got solved. The restraining order was still in place and Charles still got in trouble. It sounds to me like he probably did need to go to a psychiatric hospital. So let's just hope that some amount of mental health counseling went along with his sentence. Number 3. All that Count Chocula. The Black Bottle Brewery in Fort Collins recently admitted to causing a shortage of Count Chocula cereal. As strange as this sounds, it really did happen. The brewery bought every last inventory of that iconic cereal, even causing a little bit of mayhem. One shopper was so furious that they wrote a letter to the Coloradoan complaining that they wait all year until October to purchase just a few boxes of that good Count Chocula, but they were robbed of their opportunity. But what exactly did the brewery buy up all the cereal and ruin this person's day for? According to the manager, it's an ingredient that goes into a beverage that's part of their Cerealously beer series. Count Chocula isn't the only victim. They also use Reese's Puffs, Golden Grahams, and even Cinnamon Toast Crunch to make beer that, to be quite honest, sounds kind of absolutely horrible. But considering how popular their seasonal brews have become, people in Colorado must really love their cereal beer. Or is it beer cereal? Beerial? I mean, that sounds disturbing, like maybe something a bunch of college students would drink on a dare. What's the most bizarre food combination or food flavor you've ever encountered? Some of these are probably going to be pretty strange, but definitely let me know in the comments below. Number 2. The Teeth Dealer. An embalmer from Brighton has been accused of stealing teeth from corpses. These innocent Colorado citizens who had died and been sent to embalmer Adrian Klein were basically grave robbed. According to the Huffington Post, Adrian was caught stealing gold teeth from dead bodies and then selling them for cash. He recently pled guilty in court to violating a pawnbroker law. He was sentenced to a 2-year deferred sentence for giving a pawnbroker false information. It's weird that he didn't get charged for actually stealing the teeth, but instead got in trouble for lying to a pawnbroker. It's not exactly clear what kind of weird Colorado law this is, but either way, at least he got caught. In fact, how he got caught is even stranger. He was going to the pawnbroker so often with dental gold that the brokers took notice. They reported that Adrian was creepy and weird. Now he's been accused of removing gold crowns from bodies and then scooping out the dental gold after cremation. That's not a bad little scheme, really, as disgusting and immoral as it is. He made about 17 sales and earned a total of about $4,000 from stealing teeth from corpses. However, now he's in serious trouble. Personally, it seems like he should have waited and melted all the gold together into maybe one bar before selling it, don't you agree? Number 1. The scariest mugshot. One of the scariest people ever came from Colorado. From what we can gather, this monster of a human is a registered sex offender who may live currently in Springfield, Missouri. He also has the scariest mugshot ever. His name is Michael Campbell, and he has spent the majority of his life going in and out of jail ever since the middle of the 90s. But what's really crazy is how quickly he transformed from looking like an ordinary person to looking like he belongs in some kind of satanic cult. His mugshot was snapped in 2003 for theft committed in Colorado. He only had 3 facial tattoos at that point, and 5 years later, when he was arrested in Colorado yet again, his entire face was covered in ghoulish tattoos, including an upside-down pentagram on his forehead. He looked like a totally different person, and not like someone you would want to meet in a dark alley at night. This man's crimes are actually pretty heinous. We know that he was arrested recently for getting too close to a playground, though he was released just a few days later. We also know that he's on Missouri's sex offender registry. The big question is, why on earth is someone with a pentagram on their forehead and a history of abuse spanning over 20 years and several states still walking around free? In any case, if you see a man with a pentagram on his forehead, just run the other way. How do you feel about making a trip to Colorado after learning about these strange stories? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button for all the best videos, and we'll see you again soon.